Welcome back to the Lemon Healing Podcast.
Where laughter meets inner peace.
We're your host, Shaka.
And I'm Kiana.
And we just want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of your favorite podcast, Lemon and Healing. We want to thank everyone that supported us on our journey. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, sending us questions. We really appreciate you being a part of our journey with us. And remember to share this episode because it's going to be a good one, guys. What are we talking about, Kiana?
So today we're going to be doing one of our favorite things, which is to watch the controversial video that's circulating around the internet and share our 2 cents. Because if they want to put their business out there, we're going to talk about it. Okay. So we're going to watch a video together, insert it right here so you can tag along as well. And then we'll discuss. So let's take a look at the video.
My controversial dating non-negotiables that should not even be controversial. Firstly, if you don't have a driver's license or a car.
Whoa, Tammy, did you really just say that?
Yes, I did. I don't see why that's controversial. Personally, I don't really want a big massive man in my passenger seat. It's not going to make me feel very taken care of. Also, you should have a driver's license. That's what we were doing in sixth form. Let's keep on top of things. Let's be organized. If he doesn't have his own apartment, but do you even have an apartment yourself? No, and that's why you should have one. Is this not simple maths? If we both don't have an apartment, what are we going to do? What, sit in the park like when we're 14? What, are you going to push me on the swing and I'll push you down the slide? Let's start getting real, yeah? We're adults. Secondly, I'm a lady. Don't ask me what I have and what I don't have. That's none of your business. If he's in the habit of liking girls' pictures and just spends too much time lusting over women on social media, yuck. Non-negotiable. I don't want a man filled with lust. People always try to make that like an insecurity thing, but no. Why would you want a man that's filled with lust? It's a recipe for disaster. Find better things to do in your spare time than looking at and thinking about women. That includes if it's me that you're lusting after. I'm not flattered by that. Relax.
Okay. She had some good points, but then sis took a dive over the cliff. Some of these things, I'm like, girl. But I did like what she talks about lustfulness. I think that I like that aspect.
She said including her.
I understand what she meant. Like, there's some men who are like super sexual. Like when you first meet them, like all they talk about is like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty. Like in that kind of way. Like attraction needs to be there, the chemistry needs to be there. But that shouldn't be the primary thing, like everything you're talking about. Oh, what you doing? What you wearing? You're taking a shower without me? Like, ew. So like if that's what she mean, I can see what she's talking about. But let's get into this, right?
Yeah, we got to each
like
question.
For me,
so.
She has some points. She has some okay points, but then when she starts talking about, he has to have his own apartment, even though she doesn't have her own. Like for me, I'm of the belief that if you don't have something yourself, you shouldn't require it of other people, Like for her, if she's like, okay, I have these things going for me and I want somebody comparable on the same kind of level, the same kind of playing field, fair. But if you don't have none of these things your damn self and expect this man to have all of it, like, come on, sis. Let's be for real. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Okay? Like, I get what you're saying that, if the man is supposed to provide, I'm pretty sure that's her mentality, that he has to be the provider and all that good stuff. But what are you bringing to you make me ask that question. The what you're bringing to the table? Shame on you, girl. Shame on you for making me siding with a man, this hypothetical man in this situation. Shame on you.
She's pretty though. I guess she's bringing that to the table. She's pretty. I give her that. Pretty. Like she's well put together. Looks good. So that could probably be the reason why the things didn't make some sense. But like I with I with the standards, but then when you gonna be like, don't ask me about what I have, ma'am. The playing field is it didn't playing fair. Come on,
yeah,
you're not even allowed to ask questions that you asking. Like that is so weird. I'd be like, no.
She's given, I'm a kept woman, what are you bringing to the table? What do you have to provide for me? Like, don't ask about me. It doesn't give partnership, if that makes sense. Like, she's looking for
Oh, that's good.
partnership with this guy, like, to build a life together. It looks like very transactional. Like, this is my role I'm playing, this is a role you're playing. And I guess if she finds a man who's good with that,
But
kudos
can
to
I
them.
ask questions?
Some men
Even
are
if
okay
you're
with
a
that.
even if you're a kept woman, I can't ask you questions.
She said, don't ask, don't ask, don't
This
ask.
madness. This is the nonsense I just can't take. Like I am, like I'd be like, okay, I believe in 50-50. Everybody who watch a podcast, yeah, I know we gonna argue about that till it's Kiana and I very, very different on 50-50. I'm a 50-50 person. But you can't even but if you choose to be kept, like, okay, fine, whatever. But you can't even ask questions. This woman, no. I'm sorry, y'all. I disagree. But let's go through the different things that she says. So the first thing was driver's license or have a car, right? That's one of her non-negotiables, meaning that if you don't have a car or a driver's license, she will not date you. What do you think about that?
I think that's fair depending on where you live. If you live in a city whereby a car nor a driver license is necessary because it's good public transportation, shoots, I'm trying to live in that city too. You know what I'm feeling? What I'm saying? I feel like that's fine. You don't need to require, in that case, why does he need to have a car or a driver license if the public transportation is reliable? But if, let's say, most America, especially in the suburbs across the country, you need personal transportation. You need to have a car. You need to have a license. I feel like in that case, I think it would be fair for her to have those expectations. And especially if she also, you know, have her own license as well and can drive. Like, again, to me, once again, I really find it hard to require of other people if I can't do it for myself.
Yeah, I don't agree. I feel like there's a strong negotiable. I'm not dating you. I don't care if we live in a city. When we try to go out of the city, what happen? We walk in there? I disagree. You
Uber. What
gotta
do
get
you
what?
mean?
Wait a minute, if we going out the state, if we driving 2 states, 3 states away, boo, what we
Why are we
doing
driving
then?
2 or 3 states without a license? We're gonna fly, and
No,
then
no,
once
no,
we
no,
reach
no, no, no.
there, then we Uber.
Now we out a license. First thing, license is me never get into license. If you don't get a license, sir, how I verifying you? Why you?
He has a
Why
passport,
you can't take the
passport or
test?
license.
Oh, I don't care. Listen, I ain't the best driver, y'all. You understand? But I went and I get me license. I want to drive neither. I want to be a passenger princess too, man. I do. But because I want to be a passenger princess, you got to drive. I'm sorry. I don't business. I know I sound like the girl, but with this conversation, like, okay, why you got your license? If you get a license, don't talk to
What
me.
if
Don't
he
talk to
lives
me.
in New York?
Did you hear what I said? If we want to go to Connecticut or something, how we
Take
reaching
the
there?
train. Take the train.
Well, I want to take a train.
Okay.
I want to take a train. I want to drive, and I want you driving me in an okay ride too. I know broke it down rickety thing. I'm sorry. Listen, no, we at certain point that we like. If I could, I'm not saying if I gotta get a good, if I want a good car as well. You know what I'm saying? If I get a nice car and whatever, or I get a car, you should get a car. If I get a car, you should get a car. Mind you, I mean, husband meet me, I had no car. But actually, no car. It was a freaking car. I didn't even get a license, right?
I should judge it.
But I went and I got it though. I went and I
Okay.
got it, right?
But in my opinion, does she have a driver license? That's where I'm coming from. To me, if she doesn't have a driver license, oh well. Oh well. But if she has a driver
something's wrong
license,
with
I
her
can see the
too.
requirement.
You both need driver's license. I'm
I agree with
sorry.
that they both should have a driver license. But for me, again, depending on, and I don't know, is she American or is she from the UK? For some reason, I'm thinking she's from the UK.
I'm getting UK vibes too.
Yeah. Do they even drive over there? Let me don't sound
I have
ignorant
no
on the
clue.
internet.
I don't know. They
But
drive on the other side of the road. That's what I
I
know.
feel like most people in the UK probably don't drive. I could be
They
wrong.
should. I don't care. I know, but I ain't care about this woman. They care about myself. And this
No,
and
for me personally too, because I drive, I can drive, I have my own car. I want to be a passenger princess too. I trust me, I get it. I do get it. But again, in context of the video, I'm trying to be fair with what she's saying because again, she's requiring way more than what she provides.
Yes, and that is wrong on all levels. But listen, but my point is, even if I didn't have a car, both will be watching.
So you're like them Caribbean woman who want taxi man, driver man. Okay.
Me and my taxi man, they get too much woman. But no, you gotta be driving, boo. I'm sorry. You gotta be driving. I should be driving. I really drive. You know, my husband probably don't love that, but here we are. We're together, and that's it. And but I'm sorry. That is I'm with the sis with the lice. If you come in with me, you get lice. Don't even bother whisper.
You're like something ain't right. Something ain't right. Why you don't have a license, felon?
Yeah, we can't pass the test. Red flags. So no.
Yeah, I understand, and I agree with that. I personally would require a driver as well because I don't like driving either. Okay, so the driving is one thing, right? What about what she said about the apartment? Does having his own apartment fair, or should he have his own apartment? What do you think?
Well, first thing with she's like she don't have her own apartment. But sis, where you live?
But her mom.
Okay.
That's how you get parent. Yes.
Okay, so that is something. So if you're like a Caribbean kind of vibes or immigrant, because she probably, you know, maybe African.
African, yeah.
Yeah. Like I could understand her living with her parents. Like I could understand. And I could understand him living with the parents. But to a point. You understand how, like, if I meet you and you live with your parents and you gonna know, like, where we gonna live with your parents though? Like, what is the plan? Like, you're moving out, you're saving for an apartment, you're like, you know, saving for a house. Because I understand Caribbean people live with each other, but you're supposed to live with each other to save money to the next step, not to live there forever. Me a part of though. Me a part of the.
So what you do? You're not gonna add on to the house and take it
or live downstairs, or live in the basement, or live downstairs, or live upstairs. No, we ain't doing the strippiness. We ain't doing it. First thing I do want to have is an apartment, but when I reach you and you live with your parents and you don't get no plans to move out, no. But at least I gotta get me own one too. You understand?
Period.
Because or if I do live with my how old are we in this scenario?
Exactly. I'm sorry.
I am my 30s. I am my mid-30s, and I live with my parents. I'm sorry, I don't business. Y'all could come for me on the internet. Come for me. I don't business. You're old. Move out. And if you
what if your parents are living with you?
That's different.
Okay.
If the parents is living with him, that's different. That means you're taking care of your parents, and I am willing to be a part of that. Depends on your parents, because if I meet them and then, if I meet them and your mother's the mother of the house, she keeps your house and she keep you. I mean, if it's like a nice humble lady, you know, but she house, you house, y'all mix up in the house.
Yeah.
The house is not nobody's name, it's more to your name. Y'all married? Why? What coming for? You not a couple.
So yeah, for me personally, absolutely not. No, not even willing to compromise. Talk about it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like you said, in my 30s, no. Because again, I'm looking for somebody who is, you know, in a similar stage of life, like where the next step possibly is us, you know, doing something together, be it moving to a place together, buying a place, whatever, whatever, you know, the next step is for the relationship. But yeah, I'm not willing to entertain that at all. At all. So
yeah, the
it's
age,
a no for me.
It depends on the age. I think the age is a big deal. Like if you're in your early 20s
or
whatever, late 20s,
okay.
yeah.
But like I lived 30s, home. Yeah, I stayed home pretty late. You know, I was living with my mom. Because again, culturally, that's what you do. But not in my 30s, no.
Yeah. Thank you. Normalcy. I don't business. Okay, and what's the last thing she had? Oh, I know you talk about social media, and I know you have social media issue too, because I know you don't like when men be doing too much on the internet and all
why you not at work, clocking in, making some money? Why are you on the internet doing the most? Unless that's your income. Otherwise, sir, Find another hobby.
What if that's his income? Would you like that, or did you mind
If
that?
it's income, that's fine. I'm not opposed to a content creator.
Them kind of creators. I don't know.
Oh,
Not to
so
judge you.
many. It depends. What is the content? It could be an educational thing. It could be something, whatever.
What about like Ike? Ike, right? That's his name.
He's who I was thinking about too.
You thinking about like him? No way. No way.
Thinking about him
I'm
too.
sorry, Ike.
No,
No.
he's not that bad to me. He be having his crazy talks,
He
but
be
he's not that
coming
bad to me.
hard for women, bro.
He do.
Too hard. I be like,
He was, yeah, he was talking about the wigs. He's like, I can see your wig from up here. I'm like, sir, shh.
Exactly. When he done pause a video, I'd be like, "What you got time with the wig? It's me wig you're talking about." I thought it would be too controversial.
Yeah.
I want no internet. I'm sorry.
I prefer
I
not either. I prefer a man who even have an internet social media. Maybe he has a page that he don't post on. That's my ideal kind of guy. He's okay with being an Instagram boyfriend, taking the pictures from me so I can post it. But he himself, he don't care. So that's where I'm at in life. So what she's saying about he's on the internet, lusting after these Instagram models, liking, just doing the most, sir. No. I be on the internet, chronically on the internet. I need you to be like, girl, get off that phone. Let's go do something fun in the real world. Ground me in the real world, please. So I'm with her on that one. It's a no for me, dog.
Okay, I understand that. To me, I don't care either. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion of it. Like if they're always on social media. Honestly, I don't have a strong opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the issue is normally men who always on the internet like that, it's just like what she said. They usually be lusting after people. They usually be commenting, DMing people. And I think that's where my concern comes in, is a trust part. So if they were on social media, like legit on social media, like I think that'd be fine. But what comes after, are they just genuinely on it, or it's another, secondary reason? So
is
I
it like
think
for
that is the
sports?
concern.
Like they like
Good.
following sports teams, or into different hobbies. Like that's fine. Not to say that we shouldn't be on the internet, but like if the purpose, like you mentioned, is to just be thirsty after these women, that's a no for me.
Yeah. Okay, so with the non-negotiables, what do you think about it? Do you think that, having non-negotiables, like it makes sense, or does it limit your options? What do you think?
Oh no, you have to have non-negotiables. Because there are some things that you're okay with, and some things you're not. There are hard limits and there are soft limits. There are things you can compromise on, and some things you just cannot. And you need to know what those things are. And not everybody is for you, and you need to be able to differentiate based on your non-negotiables, who can be for you, who not. Because let's say, for example, you meet a guy who you're like, oh, I don't believe in monogamy. I believe in monogamy. I believe in being faithful to one person. Me and that guy, we will never work because our fundamental, belief are different. And those are things that non-negotiables kind of help you understand and identify, because there's some things you just can't compromise on, like that are part of your core being.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't disagree with non-negotiables, to be honest. Like what, but when that example is like a strong one, right? A really strong one, and I think that's fair because obviously, monog. I ain't even gonna get into it because Okay.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the issue where I have with non-negotiables, especially like horrors, is that some of these things don't make sense. Even though I was like, you gotta get a car, whatever. My thing with non-negotiables and why I think it does limit your options to some regard is because of once again, my famous thing is the why behind it, the reason behind it, because like for me, I was saying you don't have a car why? Like if I'm at a certain age in my life and you're doing, you're saving money, you're doing certain things, like you're not 21, like you're just out on earth or whatever. Like you should, like, what happened? You don't have a car right now because your car just hit up in an accident, like something just happened. But then you have a car because you just had like some issue or something, and you can't get a license because you had some record or something like that. Like the why for me is the thing. But if you're gonna be like, oh, you can get a car because you want a nice car or you want a status or that represents money or stuff like that, because that is very deceitful. Right? That is very deceitful. So I think, to me, the why for the negotiables is what I focus on, depend more than having a negotiable, and I think that is important.
That's so good. And I think a lot of times, again, people mix up non-negotiables with their preference. Preference are lighter things where you can flex with. Preference should be flexible, but a lot of times people choose or use their preference as non-negotiables, and like you said, that limits your choices, because preference is just that, preference. But your non-negotiable need to be core, fundamental truths about things you cannot or will not compromise on.
Yeah, I agree. So what are some of your non-negotiables?
Oh, you're just gonna put me on the spot. Oh, okay. So for me, a non-negotiable is someone who is a life learner, meaning that they're not content with just the status quo, like, oh, this is who I am, I don't need to work on nothing, I'm just okay with where I'm at. Like they're open to growth, if that makes sense. A growth mindset, essentially somebody who's willing to grow, like, okay, improve themselves, because again, we go through life, we go through various versions of ourselves, different experiences teach us different things. And there's some people who are so closed off to that, like they're not willing to learn a lesson, something new, like they're too old, can't teach a new old dog new tricks. And I firmly disagree, because I'm someone who always learning. I don't have to do it in the way that I do it, but self-improvement essentially is very important to me. Like, just don't be content being one way, especially if the way is very mediocre. I'm sorry. If it's very mediocre, you need a lot of work, boo-boo. And that is okay, just one or another one.
Well, I think you could list your poor ones,
fine.
but like, okay, so I got a question with that. Like, how do you measure that? Because I feel like what you're saying, like, it takes a while, because you could be somebody like, oh, I want this, I want that. And then when you get together with ain't doing nothing. Right. So like, how do you measure that?
That is a good question. And that's something like you observe, right? And like you mentioned, it can take some time. It don't have to take a long time, but you observe somebody's natural pattern. Let's say in the beginning, like you mentioned, we talk about, oh, so what do you like doing? What are you doing? What's something that, you're trying to do? And I hate the 5-year question, but there's a purpose for that. There's a reason. Your 5-year plan, your 5-year goal, even a year now, some people break it down to like, what are you trying to do within this next year or whatever. And just like, again, observe your habits, because your habits is what you do on a day-to-day that kind of determine, your where you're going, essentially. Because if you're like, for me, I say I want to write a book and I am writing the book, that means that, okay, this girl is not that serious about writing her book, and for me, it's just an observing game. That is not something that I can gauge based on what their answer. Like, I have to observe their habits and their patterns, like their behavior, essentially. And that's something I've learned in dating. A lot of times, shut your mouth and just observe.
Yeah.
You will learn so much without having to, dive into the psyche of someone. Observe them. Yeah.
That is so good. I feel like you should observe. That's me, period. People be like, oh, I like talk. Now, when you first meet me, you barely hear 2 peeps from me. Gotta be paying attention. Okay. I think that's fair, I think that's fair, because, if you're going on that trajectory, as in like, that's what you want, you understand? I think that's fair. But
yeah. But some
some people
others
consider
just
that.
to, yeah, some other non-negotiable just to list them, like, ambition. But again, that could probably tie into the previous one. Um, a belief in God, like that's important to me. Like, have a faith and actively, not just be like, oh, I believe in God. Like, let's be active.
Spiritual.
Yeah. Let's be active, like, like real for real for real. Like, let's have that on the books. Um, compassion, like that's very important to me. Somebody who's compassionate.
Yes.
That's I can't deal with a hard. I'm a sensitive soul. Be compassionate to me. Be compassionate to others, not just me.
Yeah.
Because if you're only compassionate to me and not other people,
That's a problem.
red flag. Because it's only a matter of time before that turns off from me. So compassionate, kindness, those kind of things, very important to me as well. Generous with their time, generous with their resources, generous with their emotions. Meaning that I don't need to figure out, do mental gymnastics of where I am in your life. Like, you let it know. Like, you like, girl, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm doing. Like you open about that to me. Like, you I don't have to question it. I don't have to second guess it because you want me to know that, hey, this is what's up. This is where you are. This is how I prioritize you in my life. And you show that with your time, with your resources, and with your emotions.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So, Shaka, for you, did you have any non-negotiables before you got married?
Um, to be honest, my non-negotiables come from like trauma. Like honestly, true. Like I don't want somebody too controlling because my ex was controlling, like physical abuse, stuff like that. Like my stuff is real, like really real. So that was, but I got married a while ago. So like cars and stuff like that, that wasn't a thing at the time per se. But once again, it depends on the place. Like my husband's living in a suburb. And if he didn't have a car, that would be weird. That would have been weird. So like that. But where I was living again or whatever, not a lot of people got cars. So I could understand that, but
Yeah.
are you getting there, whatever. So stuff like that wasn't like on my, forefront of my mind. But like, as you mentioned, like the only thing for me is flexibility, compromising. Like, it's not I never like, you talking about, you want somebody that is good where they're at. I don't want somebody who is like very strict. Like for me, like, I like red and it's just red all the time. Like the kind of man, is what's trigger
Not
me.
open.
Yeah, not open at all. Like, oh, and like for me, I want somebody what's important to me is non-traditional. From the moment you're non-traditional, we could work. Like, because I am a very non-traditional woman. Okay. So if you want me see me in the kitchen, this isn't the one for you. I ain't the one for you. Right? Stuff like that. So stuff like when you're very rigid and you're uncompromising is the thing that I look at. I think that's very so like from and be like, you might say that might, take a while to figure out. But no, that's easy. Like we go out. I prefer a home cooked meal. This I ain't the girl for you. Immediately, I've done pack my bag up. Time to go. Like stuff like, and I don't. Once again, y'all could come for me. Only if y'all want a chef, okay, y'all go find a chef. But it ain't me, sweetie. Okay, so, or even like you want a clean house. My house I was clean, yes. However, I am busy sometimes.
Yeah.
And you also have hands.
That
So things
part.
like that is the thing that, like if you have a very strict mindset or whatever on what's because like I could be like, oh, I want a man with this amount of money, right? But then he loses his job, then what's gonna happen? Right? I still gotta be flexible. But some men be like so traditional and not be flexible.
And I used to think about, oh, a guy who is rich or whatever, but you have to look at the characteristics that you want rather than the outcome, because a rich guy can be very stingy. You want to see a penny of that money. That's why
A
for
lot of times they
me,
are.
a generous man is more important.
Exactly. A lot of times they are stingy. That's why they got there too. You understand that you come in with this kind of Caribbean mindset too, and you give and whatever, and then they're looking at you like, why? There's a problem. So that's like important to me. So flexibility and understanding is what is important. Like, it doesn't, once you're too rigid and like, this is what I want, this is what you got to do all the time. And nobody ain't got to do nothing all the time. Period. You understand? You ain't gonna be doing what you supposed. The man will come in with that kind of mindset. He ain't doing that what he's supposed to do 100% of the time either. So if you can be flexible with me, then so that's me. That was just my main thing. Like somebody flexible and funny. I love somebody make me laugh. I think that's important. Like it's just something that I gotta giggle. If we ain't giggling, you're too serious.
That's good. That's so good.
Yeah, so I think about
that is so good. You're like, is this a boardroom meeting or a relationship? That is so good. But yeah, you got to know what your non-negotiables are. And again, those non-negotiables need to be core things that, you're not willing to compromise on. A tall man, hint, hint to myself, is not a non-negotiable. It used to be when I was younger, but now it's like, girl, if I find someone with all those qualities I'm looking for, and he's whatever height, not whatever height, Lord. I would not, overlook that person. But you have to, be honest with what you want and stuff like that. Like, and don't compromise, because the minute you compromise on your non-negotiables, going against yourself,
yes.
What does it serve you to go against yourself for someone else? You're gonna regret it. You're gonna feel resentful. And ultimately it may not work in the end. So be true to yourself, be true to what are the things you like and stuff like that, and be reasonable. Above all, be reasonable. Yes. If you're not willing to do the same, like maybe have a little bit of consideration for the other person as well in the equation.
True reason too. Make sure the reason are real, not shallow. Not like, real shallow. And that's the thing, people are like dating. I understand, but you got to look for the real thing, because at the end of the day, money fade, looks fade, right? You want somebody who can stand the test of time.
Exactly. Because someone who can be your friend.
Too. Yeah, your looks fade, and you could make yourself nice. That will fade too.
Yeah. So find someone that you actually like and you enjoy spending time with each other. Like they're your friend, truly. And, that will go a long way. But yeah. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. It was entertaining as well as educational, because we want you to learn as well as we lime and heal. We, like always, we appreciate you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, like and share this video with someone else. Leave us a comment, and like always, we are available to listen on many major podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, etc. And we're also available on social media platforms at Lyman and Healing on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Give us a follow there as well. We have different content, so you can explore those as well during the week. And like always, we appreciate you. We thank you. And until we meet again, remember to bust a lime.
Bust a lime. See you next time.
See you next time.